Crowhill here. Today we review an ESB and we empty the mailbag. Hello and welcome to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Good evening, Pigweed.
Good evening, Crowhill.
Hey, what's on your mind today?
Well, one mail submission that we got was on the Trash Man show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what Trash Man show? And I was like, it wasn't even a show. It was a man.
It was a man of the week.
The Trash Man was the man of the week.
Yes,
and
that really hit a nerve.
It did, and we got a reaction, and then I got a reaction to the reaction.
Wow.
So this is a mailbag reference to a previous mailbag.
Okay.
And about trash men.
Okay. Okay. Well,
All right.
That's good. All right. Very good. So I was looking for something other than an IPA.
I know, it's IPA season.
I know.
You can't swing a dead cat right now.
So I got this extra special bitter, an ESB, and I was just thinking about this. Extra special bitter is really that's my kind of a beer, but I don't brew it as much as I should, and I don't drink it as much as I should.
Ooh,
it's really my kind of a thing. It's a little bit malty, but not too crazy malty. And it's in a reasonable alcohol range, and it's got it's got full body, and it's got a little bit of bitterness to it.
Yep. Some
it's
hops,
really
and they don't all taste the same. There
Yes.
is quite a range of ESBs, and Southern Cross, that is Southern Hemisphere. Is this possibly this wouldn't be an Australian beer or anything like that?
the Southern Cross is of course a constellation that you only see down south. I think I saw it when I was in St. Lucia, but Southern Cross Brewery. What's the brewery? Yeah, Southern Cross Brewery is in Baltimore.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Who knows what the Southern Cross part is? And
Actually, it's brewed by M8 Beer Company. Sorry, Southern Cross is something else. Southern Cross is the name of this beer. Southern Cross Extra Special Bitter. M8 is the brewery. M8 Beer Company, Baltimore, Maryland.
All right.
Okay.
But it's not like a Southern Burning Cross kind of a thing.
No, it's not that kind of.
Okay, all right. Well, that's
the Southern Cross
this
is a constellation.
Okay, I see. Well,
that's right.
Good.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't have any.
You're
burning.
right.
It's ESBs have a little bit of a bready texture to them.
Right.
They use relatively subdued hops usually. They don't get that big hop forward stuff. It's got a little bit of maltiness. It's just a very drinkable, easygoing beer.
Right. So if you were stuck on a cruise that only had one craft beer style, would you be okay with doing ESBs all week?
I actually would. Or maybe a good middle of the road porter. Too. Yeah.
But between the two,
I'd probably go with the ESB.
Yeah, because I think you'd long for some hops after a while.
Yeah, I would.
Very good. Let me finish up with Steamboat Willie.
Okay.
He comments on the Trash Man show.
Yeah, not a show.
Not a show. You joked that women need to do more dangerous jobs so they can achieve equity in the number of women dying on the job.
Because, everybody knows,
that's a dark joke, but
it is a dark joke. But as everybody knows, way more men die on the job than women die on the job.
Right. So the previous guy, commenter, weighed in with a list of the 15 most dangerous jobs are somewhere between 96 and 99% men.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so
like offshore fishermen.
So we joke well, come on, if you're really concerned about equity,
you want equity, then get out there.
Ladies Unite. Well. Guess what? The UN. This is Steamboat Willie sent this.
Okay, right.
He says here, check this out. The UN apparently is really concerned about equity in its mine extraction program. The United States Mine Action is coordinated by the United Nations Mine Action Service and whatever. But this entire piece is like 30 pages long, is concerned about making sure that there's gender equity in the people that remove mines. So at least the UN...
They want to make sure more women die on the job.
Yes, you're doing your job. Good, well, very good, UN. Till I dug in a little further.
Okay.
The 5 main areas or pillars of mind action
Yeah.
are A, mind clearance,
Yes.
mind risk education, victim assistance,
Yes.
advocacy,
Yes.
bibbity bibbity bib. It's like,
So in other words, men will do the mind
do
clearance,
A,
and women will
and
do
yeah. So that's funny there, Steamboat Willie, but it ain't
apparently
gonna happen.
it's not.
Only men are gonna die doing this.
Yes. Because men are disposable. That's just the way it is, and that's
just the way. Okay, very good. Thank you. What do you got?
Okay, so I got a really simple one. Does dating a trans woman make you gay?
What does it make you gay?
Yeah.
Gay AF.
So first of all, what does trans woman mean?
Yeah, let's make sure we get to which one is going.
Because it always confuses me.
Yeah.
Trans woman means man pretending to be a woman.
Yes, it
Okay,
does,
okay.
yes.
So in other words, you're dating a man
Yes.
who's pretending to be a woman. Does dating a man make you gay?
Isn't that how the definition is?
I know, yeah.
So
Well, why is this a
saying-
question?
You're saying if he puts on eyeshadow and a dress, it somehow changes things?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, even if he's had all his original parts changed out,
Yeah.
you still got...
You're still dating a guy.
You still got a hairy ass Adam's apple, big old hands.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah,
Okay, that's an easy one. Okay, what else you got?
That is an easy one. The cat versus dog controversy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So Hop Frog comments on cat versus dog. He said, "You forgot my favorite reason why cats are better than dogs.
Okay.
They are clean. They are
Yes.
self-cleaning, and dogs stink."
Well, okay, it's true. Now, I never have had a dog, but I have 2 sons who have dogs, and I get to dog sit them from time to time. And yes, dogs stink, no question about it.
Yes. And they also will protect you from you and your kids
Yes.
if harm comes in their way.
And they will die protecting you. I mean, dogs are just astonishing.
And
in
what
the-
if
the loyalty.
and what if you die on the kitchen room floor?
Right? Oh, yeah. So did you see that video I sent?
That's what I'm thinking about.
Right. So this video, this guy pretends to like have a heart attack and fall down on the
With
ground
a bowl of food in
with
his
a
hand.
bowl of food in his hand, and the cat comes in.
Two of them.
And just like eats the food.
Just all right. They get the food underneath of his face and then bring it back with their
Yeah, they're like
paw.
trying to get it out of his hand. You know,
Yeah, right. Right,
slaying
out
off-
of his hand,
yeah,
and then he does the same act.
with the dog. And the dog comes in and is just so concerned.
Yeah.
That dog
Doesn't go for the food at all.
Yeah.
He just sits by him and stares down at him,
Yeah.
paws at him a little bit. It's like, yeah. In
Now, you know what
I
the
was
cat
trying
owners...
I was trying to, I mostly have defended cats in this argument.
Yeah.
But yeah.
See, I think
pretty convincing.
I think the cat defenders would say this: the cat is smart enough to know the guy was kidding.
Yeah, that's what
And
they
the
would
dog,
say.
yeah, and the dog was
Yeah,
too
that's
stupid.
a-
I think that's the way that one
sell
goes.
that.
But yeah, so that is true. I think there have been stories about cats like eating their owners, and it's
Yeah,
disturbing.
no,
but-
they just walk right over you. Dead body.
All right, so I got another one here. In your show on evolution, you casually dismiss all the work done by creationists to disprove evolution. You should educate yourselves.
I don't like that term. Educate
I know.
yourself. It's
it's so condescending.
smart alecky. Yes.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned
But,
in the show on evolution
right.
that while I was studying geology, I was also an evangelical Christian.
Right.
So I actually do know a little bit about
Yeah.
creationism stuff. You know,
But what's the objection there that we?
that we should learn more about that. Somehow creationists have disproved all this stuff. Well, no. I mean, I know the creationist arguments, and sorry, they raise some interesting points from time to time. But sorry, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, thanks. There.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's an easy one. Okay, what else you got?
Let me see. I have. I have one that's you and I both have separate but similar reactions to the
Pendulum Show.
The Pendulum Show.
Yeah.
What you
Okay, so
yours?
here's a comment. John 5155 says the pendulum has always been on the conservative. Now in this show, this is where
set it up a little
yeah,
bit.
this is where you were wondering, is it feels like the pendulum is swinging towards conservatism, and you were asking, is that really true, or is it just because I'm in my echo chamber and that's what I think is happening.
Right, and these were COVID, LGBT, the BLMness.
Yeah.
There was a fourth one I can't think of right now, but
Yeah.
so all of these things we've seen, and we're wondering. I get the feeling that these pendulums have been swinging left for a long time,
Yeah.
and now I'm getting a sense
That they're swinging back the other way.
they're swinging back. But the argument
But
is,
John's point that the pendulum has always been on the conservative side, and there's an interesting twist on this, which is, what are we talking about when we're talking about the pendulum? Are we talking about what the majority of people actually believe, or are we talking about what gets the most play?
that is it, and I think that who knows, I may be confusing, it's hard for me to take the pulse of the entire nation.
Right.
So mostly I'm just getting my information from news sources,
Exactly.
and so but.
Yeah, because I don't spend every night calling representative people from the 50 states to ask them their opinions on every topic. So I have to rely on...
So his impulse is that it's not swung as far left as you think on any of these topics.
Yeah.
In the real world.
In the real world, most people are conservative, and I think that's probably true.
He's probably got something to say.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable point. So what's your pendulum show?
This is it. Of the four, I wish I had all the topics in front of me, but I don't. I know that immigration was not one of my topics, and so Gutenberg asks, on the Pendulum Show, you didn't mention open borders / multiculturalism. Have we hit peak immigration? I think people have had enough here and Europe.
Yeah.
So the Europe remark has to do with the recent EU elections, where all of the conservative parties,
the conservative parties just mopped
cleaned
things
house.
up,
and that because they have had enough. And the question is, reminds me of your comment. Is it swinging back, or people were never on board with this? They're just getting a little more irritated now. But you just now have blue city governors or sanctuary city governors and mayors making a stink about it too. But the man on the street for 25 years has had this as a problem.
Yeah.
But now that cities are being overwhelmed, now that cities are paying millions of dollars to house non-citizens in hotels, while citizens sleep on the street.
No
matter how liberal you are, if you see it on the ground, it's irritating.
I saw this heartbreaking video of a bunch of poor women in Chicago saying, how come these illegal immigrants are getting a place to stay, they're getting food? What about us? We've been here for 50 years.
Who are lifelong Democrat voters.
Yes. And you're thinking, I agree with you. Why are we giving all this money to these illegal aliens and not giving it to our own people who are... So that's a good question. But the other thing, I'm going to go in a dark direction here.
Here we go.
I think... Have you ever seen that video or something where they go through, here's what people want and here's what the government actually does?
Okay.
Like comparing what the population, if you look at polls and the population wants this, here's what the actual laws are.
Yeah.
And there's a huge disconnect. And basically it raises the question, have we ever been government of the people, by the people, for the people?
Yeah.
Is there ever been a time where what the people actually want is what actually happened in the government? And what we're seeing with immigration for I don't know, my whole adult lifetime.
Has been Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, exactly. Has been that the population says, cut this out, close the border, stop this ridiculous immigration. And what has Congress done? They've done the opposite for 40 years.
For 40 years.
And so do we even have the say that we think that we have? We think we're voting for things to push something in a certain direction, but does it really? I mean, maybe
do representatives represent?
No, they. I mean, apparently they do not. And I think the public gets upset and they say we're sick of this, and they voted in a new party, and the new party does the same thing anyway. So I think there's a level of frustration that is just starting to boil over, where people are thinking we are just sick of the political elite doing what they want to do without any attention to what the people actually want them to do.
Or are you living in your own echo chamber?
Or right, yes.
So I mean, so that's a good point there, Mr. Gutenberg. But I guess we'll see.
We'll see. I'd like to see what actually happens in Europe. I mean, this was an interesting election that's going. You would hope would change things, but is it going to change anything?
But you have you have representatives in this European Parliament. Mm-hmm. But you also have leftist entrenched bureaucrats who are unaccountable to anybody, who are going to pursue their own agenda no matter what.
Yeah.
And so it would be nice to see them listen to the people, or just dismiss them as dirt bags who don't know what's really the best for Europe.
Well, that seems to be what happened with the whole Brexit thing.
Yeah.
Is like, yeah, we know that the public wanted this, but they're stupid, and we know better, and we're just going to do something.
I mean,
different.
So they did Brexit. But
it took a long time.
But did anything? Yes, but the student flooded with migrants.
Yeah. It's almost as if it doesn't matter what the public wants. It doesn't matter what the public votes for. We just the elite politicians and the people in power are going to do what they want to do. And I hate to say it, but that's the way I feel.
All right. Well, let's not end on that note.
No.
Let's go. How about so we did a fun review of Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
Yes.
The Memories of My Melancholy Horse.
Yes.
And I got a reaction.
Okay.
It was where is it? St. Thomas comments on the Melancholy Horse show. Do you think? So this is a two-parter. We'll take them one at a time.
Okay.
Do you think the novella is representative of Marquez? No magical realism. So that's the question.
That's the
so
first
that's
question.
sort of one. So he's noted for his big novels, and so the fact that this is a tiny little novella, yes, it does qualify for the P&C
shortcut to the classics. Yes,
but is it representative of his writing style? And in terms of this magical realism, which infects his big books, what do you think?
Well, I've never read anything except that one, so I couldn't tell you.
But so magical realism is that there are these magical elements. That are not treated as magical by the people in the book. So it's a realistic novel where everybody accepts these magical aspects.
Yeah, and I've read some good novels that have a tinge of magical realism in them, and I kind of like it. I think it gives it kind of a spooky, interesting sort of an atmosphere.
It's like everybody's walking around, they're perfectly okay with this. Okay, well that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But did you find it in Melancholy Horse?
Not much. There might have been just the tiniest little hints of it in a couple of places, but no, it really wasn't.
No, it was pretty. I felt it was
pretty straightforward.
So that's a legitimate question. Now, part two is what does it say here? And does it bother you that Marquez doesn't use quotation marks to designate speech?
Yeah, and I was like, really? Is that true? Because I didn't notice. And here's the thing. I worked for years as an editor. You would think I would have noticed.
All right, so this is one continuous paragraph. There are no quotations and there are no line breaks of any kind.
Right.
I became indignant at what seemed a useless lie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Rosa Cabarcus went on. Even if that's so, the girl is sorry. Poor thing. She's right here in front of you. Do you want to talk to her? No, for God's sake, I said. So that's all the bottom part of one. You have different people talking. You have parts that aren't speech.
Yeah.
There's no break, and there's no quotations, and you're telling me it didn't catch your attention.
It did not even catch my attention.
I know.
Which is astonishing to me, because I read, I spent years as an editor, and when I read things, sometimes I almost can't help myself taking a pen out and fixing it.
I mean, this book is largely conversation.
Yeah.
And there's
no quote marks, and I didn't even notice it.
Isn't that interesting? Well, so interesting
thanks
observation.
For bringing it to our thanks for bringing it to our
Thomas.
attention. I'm kind of surprised that I didn't notice it, but what that tells me.
Yes. What exactly? Go ahead.
What it tells me is the incredible art of the artist, of the writer.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
he was able to write this in such a way that it didn't bother me. I didn't notice it. It flowed perfectly naturally. Everything, and wow, I didn't realize he pulled one over on me there.
I know it. I mean, and would you have the nerve? Would you have the balls to write like that? You'd be going, oh God, I'm going to confuse the reader.
Yeah,
and then well, he pulled it off. Apparently.
Pulled it off. So that's the thing. He's good enough to pull it off. Okay, so I have Elon's stepson wrote and asked, "Did you see this?" and gave us this image. Let me show you the image.
We'll
put it up.
It's a graph that gets really spiky at the end.
Yeah, it's sort of the hockey stick graph.
Right. So from 1970 to
1970
today.
to 2020, and you see it kind of goes up and down a little bit, up and down a little bit, and then somewhere around 2013, 2014, it just rockets up. And what this graph shows is the frequency in popular U.S. newspapers of the terms racist, racists, and racism. And it shows New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal.
So those are your four little lines there. And they all follow, I guess Wall Street Journal is lagging a little bit, but...
The rest of them just to the moon. It's like, it goes along like this and then boom, skyrockets. So now the question that Elon's stepson asks is, did George Floyd cause this, or did this cause George Floyd? And I think if we look at the time, like if we look at the Washington Post here, this started, and it started really ramping up sort of 2015-ish, which would be too early for George Floyd.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. And then like New York Times is also ramping up maybe a year later. And then like 2 years later, just through the roof. So the question then is, it's easy to think George Floyd, we have our Flovid meme there, but it's easy to think that George Floyd
I'm still expecting to catch on any second now.
Exactly. We should hear it in the news all the time. But the other way to think of it is that the fact that the papers were talking about racism so much is what created an environment where the George Floyd story became the story that it became.
Right. It was the kindling lying around.
Yes.
Just waiting for that spark. So you're saying it's possible. This was an excellent question. It's possible that that the environment had been. Now to go one level deeper, like because of these newspapers are pure journalism with no agenda whatsoever. So all they're doing is they're just noticing.
They're just reporting
this
the facts.
massive spike in 2015 when by every possible measure, racism has been waning.
Yes.
But
somehow or other, they realized something that the rest of us didn't see.
Yes, they were just seeing it everywhere, and then the match came, and there you go. So
I think it's an interesting question. I'm inclined to say that the papers deciding to cover racism so much and to get racism into our daily vocabulary is what caused George Floyd to become the story that it became. That's kind of my read on it, but I don't know if that's true. Right. That was a great question, Elon's stepson. I don't know if you're really Elon's stepson or if you just like the guy. But
I mean, he does have a lot of kids.
He does.
And,
he does. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, he should have more.
He's trying.
I know. The world needs more Musk genes. I'm telling you.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, this one was good. This was a video they sent in, so we'll have to explain the video.
Okay. All right.
Britain 53 has a suggestion for a show. We don't get a lot of these.
Yeah.
I like it. You guys should do a show on the poison that is victimhood. See attached video. So the woman.
That one. Yeah.
This is the definition of how you do a blind study.
Yeah. Yeah.
You send somebody. You study somebody who thinks that the study is one thing.
Yeah.
but the study is not.
Yeah.
So they put on some fake scars on her face so that she can go into
Not just one woman, a whole bunch of women.
Oh, yes, yes. So they can go into an interview and then come back out
and report their experience.
Report their experience.
Yeah, so all these women had these makeup artists.
So they're part of this important study.
Yeah, and they know the point of the study.
Yes.
We're going to put this scar on you, and we want you to go into this job interview and find out whether you're being discriminated against based on your facial scar.
You're right. Your disfigurement.
Yeah.
Like, do employers prefer pretty women, and will they discriminate against disfigured women?
Yes. So they had all these women go in. They had these scars,
right? Which is a good and interesting study. But how do you make the study effective?
Yeah. So on the way to the interview, the makeup artist goes, "Oh, wait a minute! I just got to fix something."
Let me touch this up here.
And removes the entire scar.
Yes.
So when she goes into the interview, she believes she has a scar on her face, but she does not have a scar on her face. Right. Okay. Now, after that...
It's so good.
It is so good. And then after that experience, she comes back out. Apparently, there's no mirrors around or anything. She doesn't know that she doesn't have a scar on her face anymore.
To report her experience. And boy, was she being discriminated against. So much discrimination going on.
So much. You wouldn't believe the things this guy said. This guy said this,
he
and
made
that was
open references to... yes, to her disfigurement.
Yeah, you just couldn't believe how much discrimination there was. And the things that he said, I couldn't believe that he would say such a thing to my face, because of my scar.
Right.
And you didn't have a scar.
So here is the study, right? So like I said, right, it's the perfect study.
Yeah.
So the results of the study, or such as they are, is that his reference is to the poison of victimhood. You want to be discriminated against.
Yes.
And that there is an atmosphere and a culture and some cachet and some power that we all have for some reason, have decided that it's actually good to be oppressed. It's good to be a victim. And so this pretty girl who had never experienced victimhood and oppression really wants to be on their team so badly.
Or that another way to phrase it would be that she's primed to look for something. She's primed to look for something, and then because she's primed to look for it, doggone it, she finds it.
Yeah.
If you go into the interview thinking you're going to discriminate against me because of this.
That's more of a neutral way to just, in terms of confirmation biasing.
Yeah.
But yeah, or it's more that the perverse pleasure of being oppressed and a victim that the culture has generated.
Yeah.
At any rate, it was an interesting.
Fascinating.
And you know what? I don't think we've completely exhausted it. It still might be a show unless we've just exhausted all the good stuff.
Might be interesting to look at it. Yeah. Okay, so I think this is a quick one.
Yeah, me quick.
Pearl Davis is a horrible human being who hates men. I can't believe you guys gave her any credence at all.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hurtful.
My reaction to this is when I listen to some commentator, some personality, I'm kind of interested. I'm interested in the points that they make. Like, I don't really care about their attitudes or their disposition or their, like, for example, Jordan Peterson sometimes annoys the heck out of me in terms of his personality and the way he's, but I'm trying to listen to the points that they're making.
But hold on, but my tendency is that she hates women. Right?
I'm sorry.
Is that what it says?
It says hates men. I'm sure.
You wrote it down.
I'm sure. I wrote it down wrong. Because this one was okay. Sorry, I probably wrote this down wrong.
Yeah. So, he's right. Is she in the manosphere? She doesn't. I don't think she hates women. I think she thinks that she hates feminism.
Yeah.
And she hates that.
She does say a lot of negative things about women, but see, my reaction is, okay, maybe she hates women. Maybe all kinds of other people hate all kinds of things. I don't know that. All I can do is listen to the things that you're saying and decide, do they make sense can you justify your argument? You know?
Yeah. I think she's a fresh voice.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to see women set their hair on fire listening to Pearl Davis.
Yes.
And she, I don't say that she will say that men are better at everything.
Yes, she will say
that. Doesn't mean that she hates women. She's a woman, and she's just like kind of okay with it.
Yeah.
And that sets people's hair on fire.
That's a perspective.
Allowed to say that. Okay.
Okay. What do we got?
Well, I guess we got this. Well, that was not very nice. And let's wrap up with one even meaner than that.
Yeah. So Love Warrior.
Yeah.
Says, you two homophobes are mean bigots who attack the LGBTQ plus community for no reason. What do you care what two consenting adults do? How are they hurting you? People love who they love. We're born this way. Stop attacking us. Leave us alone.
Well,
okay.
I mean, I don't suppose you have any reaction to that.
So first of all,
first off, she left out Two-Spirit.
I know, and LGBTIQ. Yeah, right. Yes. Okay. So first of all, thank you for listening. I don't like the overuse of the word phobia.
Well, that's for starters.
For starters. So when people use the word phobia, a phobia is an irrational fear. It's a anxiety disorder. So it's really not appropriate. I mean, neither of us have an anxiety disorder. So we're not phobes of any sort. Now, some people have irrational fears of spiders and elevators and other kinds of things. We don't have any phobias. So, first of all, we're not homophobes. Second, there is no LGBTQ plus whatever community. That's a myth. There is no such thing. The only thing that holds that group together is the fact that they're not heterosexuals.
Yeah, I mean, there is the enemy of my enemy kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But the notness.
Yeah.
Is not really a coalition.
Yeah, exactly. There really is no community like that. That's just a myth. Now, third, I want to turn your question on its head. What do you care what two consenting adults, namely Pigweed and I, do? Why is it your business to tell us what to do? So, like, you might say something like, well, you're spreading hate, which is completely a lie. We have never spread hate in any way, in any kind. But still, why do you get to tell us what to do? Isn't that a bit of a double standard here?
Yeah, that you must embrace the thing that I say you need to embrace.
Yes, right. We're not telling anybody that. Also, I can't recall any time that we've told two consenting adults what they can and can't do.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah. I don't think that we've ever done that.
To address your accusation.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you say people love who they love, and as if you think that's relevant to the discussion, but you're making a common but very fundamental error. Loving somebody is not sufficient grounds for having sex with them. I love my siblings, I love my parents, I love my children. In other words, who you love and who it's appropriate to have sex with are two entirely different categories.
Yeah, so let me jump in here, because to me, it's all about sex.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that you love who you love, and that is the only difference between you and me is who we love. And I thought to myself, what if you're one of these irresponsible parents who's taking their kids to some pride parade,
right?
And they're old enough to spell, and they say, "Mommy, what's LGBTQ?" And so she does her very liberal best to say, "Look, Mommy's a girl, Daddy's a boy, and we love each other. But sometimes girls can love girls, and boys can love boys." And the kid, in his or her wisdom, says, "You mean like how Jimmy loves Daddy?" Well, no.
Not that.
You mean like how you love Grandma? Well,
No, not that.
So, in what kind of love do you mean? Well, there's only one place to go.
Yeah. See, this is where the Greeks have an advantage on us, because they have several different words for love. One of which, there's filial love, and there's family love, brotherly love, and then there's eros, which is sexual love.
Which is all we're talking about here. So then while you're standing there on the streets and there's men in thongs gyrating and dildos strapped to their heads,
Right.
And you say,
What says love more? Greater love hath no man than this, that he wear a dildo in public. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else do you have here? So
Yeah.
the criticism is not about who you love. First, it's that this isn't love.
Yeah.
It's about eroticism.
Yeah.
And why we don't hate you. We just don't need it shoved in our faces, and we certainly don't need you talking about it to our children.
Right.
I don't want to see a parade of heterosexuals celebrating how the positions that they like.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is this. It is
Exactly.
about sex.
Exactly.
And I don't want to see parades about sex. Yes,
Whether you're
what
gay
you do
or
alone,
straight or anything else.
whatever he or she said at the beginning of
About consenting
adults.
yeah.
Exactly. You're right.
Okay.
In your own rooms, you're 100% correct. That is where that belongs. But in classrooms, in libraries, and
On the
whatever.
street and parade floats and all that stuff. Yeah.
All right.
All right, so now,
you got something else? All right,
it's a little bit more to go on. So-
feel free.
So she also brings up. I'm assuming she. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I am too.
I don't know why
Something
I'm
in the
assuming she.
attitude or
Yeah.
something.
So whether people are born with homosexual tendencies
we
or
didn't get
not
to them, yeah.
is entirely irrelevant.
Means nothing.
Like, let's say I was born with a tendency to eat children.
Yeah,
That doesn't mean that it would be right.
We're all selfish. We're all fun. Have you ever seen a 3-year-old try to rip the face off of their father?
Yeah.
They would do it if they had the strength, because that's just.
Yeah.
But you know what? You get socialized, you get humanized, and you're
Yeah.
like, you can't be a selfish grab ass. You know, your base nature.
Yeah.
Does not define who you are. You are required to rein in your base nature.
Exactly. And the fact that I'm born a certain way, who cares? Maybe I'm born I love to kill people. Maybe I'm born I love... Who knows what it is?
Right. Look, how many pedophiles are actively choosing... Let me see.
Yeah.
I could have a wonderful, normal relationship with an adult woman... But I think
rather...
I'm just going to choose arbitrarily.
Yeah.
No, you have this compulsion to do that. That doesn't make it okay.
Exactly. Because you're born with it does not make it okay. That's just I don't know where anybody got that idea, but it's a stupid idea. And then the last point is that you say that we're attacking you and that we should leave you alone.
Right.
But I think you have this entirely backwards.
Feel like it.
We didn't impose anti-drag queen story hour on your kids. We didn't start painting streets with anti-LGBTQIA plus flags.
No.
We're not the aggressors. You're the aggressors.
Yes.
And, look, if people want to do their thing, okay. But you're pushing it in our face.
Right.
That's the truth.
Now, Love Warrior, I'm surprised you listened to the show.
I know.
But
but thank you.
Setting that rebuke aside,
Yes.
please continue to listen.
And send another comment.
And feel free to weigh in.
That's right.
We're not all that thin-skinned. We can take it.
We can take
Very
it. That's
big
right.
place.
Yes.
All right. Well, happy Mail Day.
Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.